So you're watching Coffee with Chris and Merlin. He gets treats, I get coffee. This week, Intel are dropping a new CPU at the end of this month. I'll tell you what I think about that. I was thinking about upgrading recently myself, actually. We've got photo of the week, and I tried to make a video about macro photography this week. I asked AI to help me, and it confidently sent me in the wrong direction, which, as it turns out, there's a whole paper on why that is happening. So we'll get into that too. He seems ready to go, so let's get on with it. So this week I've been trying to put together a video around macro photography and using the Tab S11 Ultra, which is this thing right here, to edit the pictures on it. And to do that you need to do focus stacking. So when you're taking macro photography, you need to take multiple pictures all in succession, and then you need to increment the focus bit by bit and then stack it all together at the end. I used to do that on Photoshop on my PC, but I figured, because I've been talking about trying to replace a laptop with this, is it possible to do that process on here as well? So that's what the video delves into. It'll be coming out in the next week or so. So I asked Perplexity AI a couple of different models on there, and I asked it to sort of recommend me, are there Android apps that can do it, or what would be the process for doing it on Android? That's what this AI stuff should be doing, right? It should be helping us research things more thoroughly and easily. Didn't quite work as expected. So it gave me, I think, 3 apps. One didn't exist. One did exist, but it wasn't for macro focus shift stacking. It was for photo stacking of astronomy, astrophotography. Another one was like a Photoshop alternative, which didn't have a proper actual focus shift stacking mode, or at least it didn't work. The other thing as well was it's recommended exporting things in TIFF format, TIF, instead of JPEGs. The AI knows what camera I'm using, but it didn't take into account that the images would be over 80 megabytes each when in that format. So even on the one service that did work, which is photo stacking online, that can't deal with that amount of data. So just to save anyone, if you are looking into focus stacking macro photos, photostackingonline.com does work just about in certain circumstances. Full details to come next week. So why does this keep happening? I mean, remember episode 1 of this podcast? You might not have seen it. If you did, go back and have a look at it. But the first AI's instinct was to suggest walking to the car wash without the car. And it turns out there's a whole academic paper on this. So I saw someone sharing a link on this, and I'll put it in the Raindrop link in the description. And it's a paper called Why Language Models Hallucinate. And honestly, it's one of those things where you can read the explanation and you just can't unsee it. So a short version of this, these models are trained in a way that evaluates giving a confident wrong answer over admitting that they don't know. Basically, think of it like having an exam where leaving a question blank costs more than actually giving the wrong answer. So the model learns to guess, always sounds certain. Because in training, it's then scored higher than saying it doesn't know. And this is the problem, that's baked into the model. This is the thing, like if someone asks you a question and they're not sure about it and you say you don't know, at least you're like, okay, you can take some of what they're saying, or you need to go and investigate at a different source. If the 2 apps that I got for photo stacking both cost money. Now I managed to get a refund on one of them, and I'm trying to get a refund on the other because I used it for less than 2 hours. But it was confident that they were correct. It didn't even begin to suggest that they might not work, or it might be a different type of focus stacking. The paper's also suggesting as well that this is never going to change. It's always going to be the way that it is. And the only way that it'll change is if they change the whole way that they're being trained and evaluated, which then removes the value proposition. And this is happening in the workplace as well. Like if you get access to something like Microsoft Copilot and you're asking it information about your job, and it will just confidently says, even if it's wrong, the human just has to check and re-research it. But if the product said, oh, I don't know the answer to that, then people would just stop using it. So the models have to come up with a confident answer so that people keep using it. Yeah, you can see there's a potential problem there, right? But at the end of the day, that confidence is not a signal of accuracy. So always re-research, always re-question. And a classic thing as well is you could just ask the AI, you could just ask it whether it got it right, and sometimes it'll say, oh, I messed this up. So this AI stuff, the genie's out of the bottle, it's here to stay, and it's not perfect. It doesn't sound like it's going to be perfect for a while. And we're all going to be in this really strange scenario where we're having to potentially use these tools in professional settings, but they're not giving necessarily the correct answers. And then you have to try and find ways to get value out of it to increase your productivity to stay relevant in the workforce. The future's tricky, but it's better to stay on top of these things than it is to sort of fall behind and swept by the wayside. That's my take anyway. So Intel are set to released their Arrow Lake refresh coming up. Looks like it's March 11th, that's this Tuesday, coming up this Tuesday. If you remember when the original Arrow Lake launched, I had some really bad reviews. A lot of tech reviewers online really were not happy with that product. Mainly because they were looking at things like, there's a problem with the way they've changed the memory controllers, the new sort of chiplet designs. There was a lot more latencies in between the cores, and it meant that when you compared it against AMD's X3D processors, where they've got the 3D V cache on top of the processor, and latency is really low, and that works great for things like games. There was potentially some value in the original Arrow Lake in terms of like a mixed scenario with a little bit of production workload, and you know, you're gaming at 4K. I still think that a lot of tech reviewers don't necessarily talk enough about the fact that at 4K a lot of these numbers diminish drastically, where a lot of the high-end CPUs across AMD and Intel all bunch up together in a lot of games, because you're really GPU bound at that point. But the thing is, over the past year or so, while they've been doing all the different firmwares, it looks like there's been around into a 25% performance increase already. You know, that it shows how poorly optimized it was at launch. It was not ready to go. So basically, what it's looking like is you're going to be able to get a Core 7 Ultra 270K with the same core and P-core count as the original Core i9, well, the Core i9 equivalent, the Core 9 Ultra, with a slightly lower clock speed but higher RAM speed compatibility. Obviously, RAM prices have increased, so being able to put even faster RAM in a system, it just makes it more expensive. So the value proposition isn't necessarily there for that. But so this is really tricky now, because for me, I've been trying this sort of macro photography thing, and it's looking more like I do still need a powerful PC to be able to do certain types of photography. Spoiler alert for the upcoming video. But this is not, it doesn't feel like you can just straight up buy this as is, because it's going to be slightly better, but it's still going to be quite punchy. I did that video recently showing the cost of a build. Even without a GPU, you're looking at 1,800 quid. It's worth having a look at what numbers come out when it's released. I think it's going to be actually released towards the end of the month. So I'll be looking up see what Gamers Nexus is saying about it. I know Steve does not like what Intel have been doing over the last few years, but I'm more interested in the numbers rather than whether people think it's ethically or, you know, a good or a bad. If compared to my 10900K, it's significantly better, and if the price is appropriate, then I might just be thinking about upgrading. Alternatively, it's wait another year, hope that the RAM prices don't increase even further, and wait for Nova Lake, which is around the corner, but it's still a while away, possibly another year. Okay, photo of the week. So this is just a quiet moment in a local pub near me. It's a few miles away. They've got some of Jeremy Clarkson's Hawkstone Lager and cider, looks like. Incredible food. I've been very busy with work, very busy trying to sort of do a little work behind the scenes on this YouTube channel. And the weather has been atrocious. So I've not got out around much. Now there was one other photo I was thinking of showing, because a gentleman, in being generous calling him a gentleman, came and accosted me in the street while I was waiting for the wife at the optician's, and he asked me to take a picture of him. Now, the thing is, he had relieved himself in his trousers, so I don't think it's worth showing that picture. That was a shame, because I was walking around a local town trying to do a bit of street photography, and yeah, it was not exactly the friendliest of encounters, so I just hung out in the opticians instead. So that was my one chance to do a bit of street photography. Instead, we get a little snap of inside the pub we went to afterwards for a well-deserved meal. Right, so that's it for this week. Just a bit of a quick one. There's some good stuff in here, I think. There's a few topics I've got on the table that I've got in the background that I'm thinking about doing for next week. Maybe having a revisit to some new news about the Home Assistant voice satellites. Apparently there's some additional tools that have become available that might make it worth replacing this system. If you are still listening to this and you're interested in the Home Assistant voice, and maybe you've replaced Alexa yourself, drop in the comments, let me know. Has it been worth it? Is it worth ditching Alexa for Home Assistant voice? I'd be very interested to hear from you. Now, he's been pretty quiet recently. Have you got anything to add? Yeah, well. Anyway, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next week.